rewind. I was a swimmer as a child and growing up, and I gave that up during my addiction. I thought it was more fun to party, which at the time it was fun. But that's kind of where my fitness journey stopped. And then I got into yoga, and there was something about yoga that I found very, for the first time in my life, I was like, whoa, my brain just stopped. You know, when I am moving my body, I'm eating well, like it has a direct effect on my mental state.
Yep.
You know, like when I'm not working out, I'm not eating healthy, I'm not doing the right things for me now. My recovery isn't great.
You have two options. You can either go to inpatient now and have a good chance at this, or you can go to outpatient now and not have a good chance at this and probably repeat this cycle over and over and over again. Hindsight's always 2020. Of course, knowing what you know now, you would have done the inpatient right out of the gate.
I can only speak to my experience, right? Like my parents didn't know.
Right.
And they didn't know where to begin. So they did become educated over time, and that did change the way things looked and the way I was able to act and behave, right? But once I was like, okay, I'll do something, they're like, okay, go, you know, whatever you want, just go, do it. Yeah.
Wait, did you actually hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
Here we are, Real Recovery Talk. I am your host, Tom Conrad. In today's episode, we've got Dr. T.
Hello, hello.
And we also have a lady by the name of Morgan. Hello, Morgan.
Hi.
First things first, thank you for tuning in on the podcast app, whichever one that you choose to use. And thank you for watching on YouTube. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com. And ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. Right, T?
Right.
How you doing, Morgan?
I'm great. I'm excited.
Yeah, speak up a little bit.
Oh, so you can't hear me.
Yeah, just pull it. There you go.
How's that?
That's better.
Okay.
So Dr. Tambini, Dr. T, made this connection a while ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Probably
a couple months.
It's been longer than that. I bet you it's been 6 months anyway. Because you had something to do. It was around.
I was going back to work.
Oh, okay. And we'll get to that. But yeah, so I think it's going to be a fun episode. You guys are funny. So I might just sit back and listen. But no, I mean, the structure of the podcast is very organic conversation. A lot of our listeners are families and loved ones, so that have somebody in their life that is struggling with addiction. We do have a lot of people in recovery that listen, and they make sure to tell us that, listen, we are listening. It's not just families and loved ones. So, yeah, so Dr. Tambini made the connection, and here we are. So we'll just get right into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm originally from New Jersey. I moved down to Florida. For the first time I moved down, I think it was my first go in treatment. I was 21 years old. 21. I turned 21 in my first treatment center. And I was sent down here. And I played along for a little bit and then decided this wasn't for me. Moved back home, and then I've been down here since 2013. And I'm sober. I currently am in this line of work. And yeah, what else do you want to know?
Well, the first thing that you said that kind of caught my ear is I got sent down here and I played along.
Yeah. So I very much arrived in my first treatment center confused, feeling like this was all a mistake. And I just had a bad card handed to me. And, well, let me rewind. I originally when my parents weren't sure what to do with me, they took me to an outpatient center. And the initial recommendation for treatment was to go to inpatient. And I manipulated my way into getting what I wanted, was to stay home. And I found myself jumping through that system. So I would arrive at group, I would fake it till I made it, I'd leave, I'd go do whatever I wanted to do and make sure that I came back with a clean UA. And that obviously didn't work for too long. So I ended up in my first treatment center. And I was angry. I was mad. I didn't feel that I had a problem, and I wanted to point the finger at everyone else. And then I had a therapist that looked at me, and this is probably one of the few things that I got from this treatment center because I didn't take it seriously. It was an amazing place. I just didn't care. But she said, honey, no one ends up here by mistake. And I was just like, joke's on you because I'm here by mistake. But yeah.
When you came down the first time, how old were you?
To Florida?
Yeah.
I was 21.
And when you did the outpatient, how old were you?
I was 20.
Was it opiates or what?
No, at the time it was, I went to a major party school, so a lot of uppers, Coke, I heavily abused Adderall, and I drank to come down from it all, smoked. It was like this constant cycle of like get up, 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 and then whatever I could to come down and like be able to sleep and function.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That outpatient, the outpatient thing, we see that a lot with people that they try and bypass levels of care. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because if people knew going into it, like if I said to you, Morgan, you have two options. You can either go to inpatient now and have a good chance at this, or you can go to outpatient now and not have a good chance at this and probably repeat this cycle over and over and over again. Hindsight's always 20/20. Mm-hmm. Of course, knowing what you know now, you would have done the inpatient right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. And we see that a lot, and it's unfortunate because, we tell our clients all the time that get it right now. Just do it now. Mm-hmm. Do the detox, do the res, do the inpatient, do the PHP, the IOP, the outpatient. In all of those levels of care, in most cases, is what, 5 to 6 months of your life, and then follow it up maybe by another 2 or 3 months of sober living or 6 months of sober living. Let's see you through a year of sobriety. And then, you're good. If most people could do that, then I think we would see a lot better success. But
I think too, like Morgan said, a lot of people are just not ready, or they're in denial. They don't understand what's happening around them. They're stuck in a bubble, and they think they do have control of it. Mm-hmm. When the reality of the situation is they don't. Mm-hmm. But they're also not ready. Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to tell people all the time. It doesn't matter which level of care you go to. If you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's something that's difficult for the patient themselves, but also their family or their loved ones, because if they're not familiar with addiction, they don't understand, like, why can't you just stop? Like, why can't this behavior just be done? So I don't think it's uncommon.
No, but now I have the coughing attack. What's going on?
I don't know.
I'm going to challenge you on that.
Okay.
And the reason is...
Well, I have her back here.
Okay.
So
I'll challenge you both.
I do have her back. Okay.
And you guys will both...
So you ready? Let me know when you're ready for
you'll
me
both,
to chime in.
You'll both agree with me once I say what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Your parents, you manipulated the shit out of your parents.
Correct.
If your parents were educated and they knew what the right decision to do, which was obviously being verbalized, hey, Morgan, you need to go to inpatient, but you manipulated the hell out of your parents and you were able to go to outpatient. If in fact you did go to inpatient, and this is where I'm going to challenge you. If you're not ready, I get it. But if somebody is, whether they want to or not, forced to go through all levels of care, meaning, Morgan, we don't care if you want to go to outpatient, IOP, whatever the case is. You're 20 years old. You're living underneath our roof. This is what you're doing. And you're not coming back until you complete this. And if you want to do your own thing, that's fine, but you're not going to have support from us. And they force you into that process, you may hear something in that process, in that 6 months that you're doing the full continuum of care, whether you wanted to go into it willingly or not, or you were ready or not. Something happened. You met somebody, you heard something, you networked with the right people, you hung with the right people. And now you're like, I didn't want to do this in the beginning, but now I do, you know? So, and I think you guys would agree with that, but it goes back to the parents a lot of times in this specific situation. Sure. So,
I mean, what I was just like, there's so much, I don't even know where to begin. So I agree. Yes. But I also think that at least I can only speak to my experience, right? Like my parents didn't know.
Right.
And they didn't know where to begin. So they did become educated over time, and that did change the way things looked and the way I was able to act and behave, right? But once I was like, okay, I'll do something, they're like, okay, go, you know, whatever you want, just go, do it. Yes.
Oh,
you know?
okay. Yeah.
And I think, you know, now that I work in this industry, I could speak to that as well. And I also think that like, it's very scary for the parents, you know, and the approach of hard love isn't the first response. You know what I mean? Like that's actually really hard to do. And I like give my mom and my dad so much credit to be able to be like, it's this way or the highway. Because like if I was to take the highway, I can't imagine what would have happened to me and like what they would have had to have gone through as well. You know what I mean? Thank God I said yes. You know, I took the route of treatment because I didn't know what else to do. You know what I mean? It was, yeah. So
yeah, it's a scary situation for parents. And you know, it's easy for me to say my kids are
babies,
8, 6, and 4.
Yeah.
So good.
Wild children screaming in the background every time we talk.
Oh, I know.
No, but I think also from like your perspective, sometimes you have to fail in order to learn, in order to grow, to gain the skills, the insight. And sometimes that's how I feel when I see patients or talk to them. I just meet them where they're at.
Right.
I'm never ever going to tell someone you're going to fail, you're not going to do this. No, I never think that in my head. But the conversation is, listen, this is your journey. You know, there are a lot of professionals who know a lot of information about this field, and we're going to try to give it to you and support you. But ultimately, if you don't make it through the first time, like Tom said, at least I hope you gain something from this experience and you use that for the future when you are ready or whenever your journey begins for you.
And that's something that I was going to say also, like, if I can go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I learned how insane I was in that outpatient center, you know, like picking up that piece of paper and being like, oh yeah, I'm happy today. Like, who am I kidding? And then like going home, and I remember I used that Spice K2 and like it would give me a clean pee, but I was crazy. It made me a lunatic, you know, and just anything I could to cheat that system. Like how insane is that? You know, and like, had I not been given that opportunity to try that, I wouldn't be able to like see that now, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I like how you put that because it's true. You kind of learn as you go.
Totally.
Yeah. And the relapses, when people do relapse, if you have the mindset, like I was just talking about this a couple of days ago with our clients, I said, look, when you do relapse, it's a matter of what are you going to, not when you do, but if you do, what are you going to take from it? Are you going to try and learn from it? Or are you going to try and analyze it and, see where things went wrong? And if you do that, then there's always a learning lesson in there. The thing that sucks is that it's very risky now, when you do relapse, with the fentanyl. So you came down, when did it stick?
So I did the dance of recovery, not non-recovered, whatever you want to call it, back to treatment for a little bit. And then I remember I had absolutely zero emotional fight left in me. And I was basically homeless. I had nowhere to go. I was with a girl that I met in detox, and I was in South Jersey at someone's house that I met in detox. Like, great situation. And I had a moment of clarity. I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I didn't know what to do. She was leaving me to go get more drugs. I was in a place that I didn't know where I was, alone, and I was scared.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, I remember I was like, help me. Someone help me. And I picked up the phone and I called a friend I went to high school with who I knew worked in the industry down here. And he's like, I can get you on a flight. No problem, like in 2 days or whatever. And I said, okay. And I remember I told my mom and my dad, I said, I'm going to Florida and I'm going to do this. And I specifically remember my mother saying to me, she was like, it's better to be homeless around here than it is down there. And I was like, okay. And I took that flight. And I came down and I went to a treatment center that it didn't even matter at that point. Because for the first time in my life, I was like, tell me what to do. I don't know what to do because my way is landing me in the exact same position every single time. And emotionally, I just couldn't feel like that anymore. I was so depressed. I was so uncomfortable. I was so anxious. And I thought all the fixes were external. Let's escape this. Let's escape that. What can I buy to fix this? And I just stopped and I said, help me. Show me what to do.
Wow.
And that was in 2013. Yeah.
So you're coming up on 12 years?
11.
11 years? When?
December.
Nice.
Yeah, I just celebrated 10 December.
That's awesome. Is the treatment center you went to still around? No.
It was an amazing place, though. It was called A New Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we know.
With Christy, yeah, Slinsky and Mike Slinsky.
Christy's my dog.
I love Christy.
I work with her still.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, Christy. Love her.
That's awesome. Well, let's transition now to kind of what you've been doing. Or, well, let's kind of unpack, I guess, the 10 years a little bit. What's it been like for you? You guys obviously met when? This was
a long time ago.
So we opened Hustle Hard in 2013. So 11 years ago. I think it was like
T, pull that mic up on you a little
2015?
bit.
2015.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe even 2014. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys met when you had like a year clean?
Yeah. A year or 2 years clean. And
you were still just starting med school? Or no, you were
I was in residency when we met.
Yeah.
That long
It's so crazy.
I know.
And then we kind of stayed on the same path where they kept crossing. Yeah.
It's crazy.
In work, and here we are now, crazy.
So Tambini, you owned a CrossFit gym.
Yes.
Hustle Hard. And you were a member.
Yeah, I popped in a couple times.
Yeah. Did you do muscle ups and stuff?
Nope. Still can't do one.
Can you do one?
That.
Yes, I competed in the CrossFit
No,
games,
I'm saying right now. I'm saying right now.
I haven't tried. I'd probably rip my shoulder.
I mean, if I tried, I'd probably be able to do it, but
you should. I'm sure you could do one.
I'm just kidding. That was me being sarcastic. I couldn't.
I'm sure you probably could. It's all about the technique.
Yeah, I know.
I never could do one. I mean, if that's hard to believe. What was your journey over the 10 years? Because here's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I want to transition to what you're doing now because I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
But I want to get there.
Yeah.
So take us
So
there.
it has been a journey, a wild journey. So when I first got sober, I started working in, I my sober job was I started at Carrabba's as a hostess.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all right.
And then
I thought you were going to
from there-
say a call room.
No. I never went down the call room.
Good
journey.
for you. Good for you.
And from Carrabba's, I don't know what happened. Oh, I got into yoga. I think as I was in my halfway house, I got into yoga. And rewind, I was a swimmer as a child and growing up, and I gave that up during my addiction. I thought it was more fun to party, which at the time it was fun. But that's kind of where my fitness journey stopped. And then I got into yoga, and there was something about yoga that I found very, for the first time in my life, I was like, whoa, my brain just stopped. You know what I mean? And from there, I was like, oh, this health and wellness thing, that's cool. And I got a job working at Christopher's Kitchen, and I worked in their juice bar. I would ride my bike there. It was like the coolest thing ever.
On PGA?
On PGA, yep.
Yeah.
And I would show up like all sweaty and change in the bathroom. It was like a whole thing. But I did it. And as I was working this job, I could talk to anyone. So I would talk to every person that came in. I created all these relationships. And I met Karen Burnett and Lizzie Moore. And they were yoga teachers. And I thought they were the coolest things. Because
I know Lizzie. The twin?
No, Lizzie's not a twin.
No, I do know Lizzie. No, you know what? I'm thinking of some. I do know her because I think she used to teach yoga at Recovery Associates.
She might have.
Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, she's like
Blonde.
my closest friend. Yeah.
Yeah, I know her.
Yeah. Yeah, to this day. But anyways, so I remember we would talk every day. They would come in, and one day they were like, yeah, teacher training starting this weekend. I was like, oh, really? Cool. And I was doing yoga. I was like, I'm doing it. And literally I signed up the day it started. And I walked into this teacher training, and it was like the greatest experience ever. I met all these people. I really got into yoga, and I was loving it. So by the time teacher training finished, I remember that someone had offered me a job teaching yoga in treatment centers. And that's where I originally, So I would travel around to different treatment centers in South Florida teaching yoga. And I did this for a while. I eventually started doing it for myself. I worked at Royal Recovery for a long time, teaching their yoga. And then it kind of just, Royal ended up closing, and I found myself in a place kind of like, what now? But I still loved, and rewind, I also got into fitness. So I became a personal trainer. I did some of that as well over the years. And I kind of wanted to stay in that field. So I was working in a gym, and I was a gym manager. And that's what I did like most recently. Well, not most recently, obviously. It was about a year and a half ago that I stopped doing that. Then I got into, I felt that it was like the biggest blessing because I was burnt out, like I felt that it was taking away from my passion. Like I love yoga, I love fitness, but I wanted to be selfish, and I wanted to like let it fill my cup again, I wanted to make it my happy place. So I kind of was like, okay, what else can we do? So I got into recovery, companioning, coaching type work. And so that's where I'm at now.
So before we get into that,
yes,
can you tell us about two things? One, how you felt yoga helped you personally, like in your recovery journey, and also when you're teaching yoga in these treatment centers, how you felt it helped them and how beneficial it was to help the patients and the clients that were in the centers.
Yeah. So we might have to remind me of two. Okay. Let's start with one.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So what it did for me.
Yes.
So I was completely driven by results. Like I was like, ooh, like I look a little better by doing this. That was my first initial draw that kept me there. But then it was over time that I continued to do it that I noticed like the calming effect that it had on me. Because I'm a wound up person, and I could be go, but I had to do the opposite when I stepped on that yoga mat. And then after I did the teacher training, it allowed me to it allowed me to learn the body. You know what I mean? And for the first time, I was able to start like in my mind, like slowing it down even more and being like, oh, that's that muscle. How do we move that to make this, So it was all like a meditation for me. Because I had trouble with the silent, still meditation. I still do. It's not my first go-to. My first go-to is going to be a form of moving meditation, running, biking, walking, something to just stimulate me that way and calm me that way at the same time.
Clear your head.
Exactly, clear my head. So, I mean, yeah, I found it was my way to escape and shut off. And like it forced me to not be on my phone. Like that was super challenging. Like how in the beginning it was just like any escape, But when I stepped on that yoga mat, when I stepped in that room, like there were no phones,
Like mindfulness in a way.
Totally.
I've done yoga twice.
Oh my gosh.
And I did one of the hot ones. Have you ever done that?
Yes.
What do they call
That's
it?
what I started with. I started
Bikram?
with Bikram yoga. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it was so strict. Yeah, I'll give it to you. It's not easy.
Yeah,
Good
I
job.
couldn't. I didn't. I mean, I was there physically, but like I couldn't. It was at a Lifetime Fitness in Sacramento,
Oh, wow.
California.
Did you have to leave a couple times and take a break?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably.
Which they like get mad at you for. So good for
Well,
you. Did that.
and I'm really good at setting the stage before.
Yeah.
And I went in and I
Yeah.
told the lady, I'm like, I've never done this before. And the only reason I did it was because this gym was so busy. Like, and I couldn't get to like the weights and stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm here. I've never been to a Lifetime Fitness before. I'm like, this place is awesome. Let me just go find a class. And there was a Bikram yoga class. And I walked in and I told the lady, I said, I've never done this before. And she kind of laughed, and it was rough. And I did it one other time after that. But not Bikram. But I tell you what, I consider myself strong. That's like another level.
It's completely
Just
different.
holding my body in a position, especially like, I'm 220 on a good day. Forget it. Like I'm shaking
Right.
and, but it had the same effect, I guess, in terms of mentally as it would me going and doing some other form of workout. I felt great after, and I think that was the biggest thing. So, and what was the other question? Oh, how it affected clients.
Yeah, well, how you used it in recovery with other, because don't you, or used to at some of the CrossFit gyms or like host groups or like recovery type?
My little niche was definitely treatment centers. I didn't do a lot in CrossFit gyms, but so I took I can only speak to my experience, like I said previously, and I took a unique approach to it because, I found I'm not your like yogi that's traditional, and I'm definitely like you're a little edgier yogi. And I brought that with me into these places that I went, and I was like, listen guys, if you don't want to do this right now, you don't have to. Like I think I created a space that allowed for these clients to kind of take a break from their day. Like you don't have to do yoga. Like just be quiet for a minute and just be still. You know what I mean? Like take a step away from all of the talking and the doing and the thinking that we're forced to do all day. And clients really enjoyed it. And I think by not forcing the clients to do the yoga, it allowed them to like slowly play with it if they felt up to it on a different day. Like it was safe enough to do that for them. And sure enough, when I was at Royal, these clients were requesting to have it more times during the week. So it was really cool to kind of watch that. And like you would see it with every new cycle of clients that would come in, and they'd walk in and be like, I hate yoga. It's not my thing. And I'm like, okay, great. Just do me a favor and respect your peers and, have fun. And then the next time maybe like 3 times later, they'd be like, I think I'll go on the mat today. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Why don't you sit in child's pose? Okay. What's that? And it was so cool. I loved doing it. And to watch that transformation in these clients, because that's all it is, right? Yoga is just, for me, it's quieting my mind. It's becoming present. It's becoming still. And, that's super difficult early in recovery. It's hard. So to watch them come in and hold that tough stance, 9 times out of 10, it was always like, I hate yoga. I've never done yoga and I can't touch my toes. I'm like, cool, great, and to watch it soften, it was just amazing.
When they get a sense of accomplishment too when you're done, and just feel like you did something.
Totally. And like that was not thinking for a minute, that wasn't, it's still recovery focused. It's still recovery based, but it's like, I don't have to talk about my addiction for 1 minute. It's still working towards health, wellness, mindfulness, well-being, all of it, Yeah,
I think that's one of the good things about not only just yoga, but like a lot of times treatment centers, they glance over this stuff. And that's why we do a lot of the, Ben downstairs, he does all the workout stuff here in 3 days a week. And tonight he'll do it. He does a basic boot camp style, you're not going out there and squatting and deadlifting. And I mean, you are doing squats and stuff like that, but not like with a loaded barbell, you're just doing some body weight squats and some stepping up on a box and maybe swinging a kettlebell a little bit. And we have the same type of stuff. Some of the clients are like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not here to work out. I'm here to, to go smoke cigarettes or whatever. But they're around it enough. And then eventually they're like, okay, I'll do something. Right. And they're always like doing it begrudgingly. Like, well, fine, I'll try. Yeah. And it's like, shut up, dude.
It's like, don't worry. You don't have to admit you liked it.
Yeah. But that's cool. And it's cool to see when people, we've had quite a few clients. I know we have this guy, Joe, and this goes back years ago. He came in with a cane and like could barely walk and left the program, didn't need a cane, was able to walk. And he smoked cigarettes the whole entire time. That was the one thing that like, we're not going to try and break you from your cigarettes and stuff. Like this dude was a real deal alcoholic and he was probably in his 50s. So it's like, all right, you just stop drinking and work out a little bit and you quit your cigarettes whenever you want, you know? But seeing the transformation in people just through basic movement. And I like what you said about the movement meditation. I can do the silent stuff. Like if you were to go on my computer right now, one of my Spotify playlists is it's like focus music and there's no words. It's not rock. It's not anything. It's just like electronic, like focus type music. And I work the best in that. But for some people they can't. And it's like, I know one guy, he legit says that he gets his best work done with like death metal on. And I'm like, hey, whatever floats your boat,
Yeah, for sure. Whatever floats your boat. Yeah.
So, oh dang, there was something I wanted to talk about.
But I mean, there's something that I had wanted to say, but it's so true because I found it true for myself. Like, that it's so looked over in early recovery.
Yeah.
Like I know now, when I am moving my body, I'm eating well, like it has a direct effect on my mental state.
Yep.
Like when I'm not working out, I'm not eating healthy, I'm not doing the right things for me now. My recovery isn't great. I don't show up the same because I don't feel good. I feel tired. I feel sluggish. Like I don't want to do anything. And I bring that everywhere I go, you know? So I agree. It's totally overlooked.
Were you on Seroquel when you first went into got sober?
No.
I always like to ask that because I was on it.
Mm-mm.
And it was the worst. It was the greatest.
I don't remember.
It was the greatest, but the worst, like 6 months of my sobriety. It was the very first 6 months, and I was on Seroquel. And it's part of like the treatment starter pack. You know, you're either on Seroquel or what? Trazodone,
Remeron,
or
Doxepin.
Yeah.
Well, I was on Seroquel to sleep, which I never even had any sleep issues. But when I was in detox res, I saw like a couple of kids. They looked like they were having a good time. And I'm like, what are you guys on? And they're like, oh, we're on Seroquel. I'm like, what is that? And how do I get that? And they're like, just tell the doctor you can't sleep. So I waltz into the doctor next day. Doc, I can't sleep.
Didn't you know?
100 milligrams of
Did you say
Seroquel.
Problem.
But I was wondering if I could try Seroquel, sir.
No, I don't remember what I said, but I ended up with 100 milligrams prescription of Seroquel.
Wow, your doctor was generous.
Once first thing or at night, right? I walk up to the nurse's station and get my little Seroquel. And I remember the first time I took it, and about an hour later, I was out there smoking a cigarette with all the guys and girls, and I go to get up, and my legs, they were like wobbly, and I was like, whoa. And that set me on a track for the next 6 months of the Seroquel munchies is a real thing. I put on 55 pounds in that 6 months. And what I would do, and I'm tying this into the eating right and eating good, like clockwork. I would drink coffee all day because that's what you do in early recovery. You smoke cigarettes, drink coffee. Now you vape and drink coffee. And I wouldn't eat all day. And at like 7 o'clock, I would take my Seroquel and I would hit preheat on the oven, 400, and I'd go in the freezer and I'd get my DiGiorno pizza and I would put it in the oven. And right when it was done, my Seroquel would kick in, and then I would eat that, pretty much the whole thing, follow it up with Ben and Jerry's ice cream, and pass out.
Well done. Wow.
And I did that not every day, but a lot of days out of the week for 6 months, and I felt like absolute trash. Yep. And I woke up one day and I'm like, what am I doing? Because I was on the Seroquel and I was on naltrexone simultaneously. And I'm like, one, I don't even know what the naltrexone is doing for me. I was just told that I was supposed to take it. I know what the Seroquel is supposed to do, and it's doing it and then some. Now I got to like lose all this weight. And I just stopped. And what ended up, and I can tie this into the meditation almost in a way. There was an app that came out, and I'm sure you heard of it, Headspace, that came out probably right around that same time. And I knew I needed to get back into normal sleeping patterns. And so I downloaded this Headspace app, and it was a struggle, but I would listen to that, do some guided meditations. And then the number one form of sleep aid for me was reading. I would do a meditation and I would get a book, and it could be a great book or whatever. And I would read, and 10 minutes, I'm out. And after doing that for a period of time, and now I sleep like a baby for the most part, but direct correlation. I mean, the mind body connection, I suppose, what you put in your body is going to directly affect what you get out of it. So, right, T?
Right. I agree.
That's why T, she eats perfect. Like all the time.
I was just going to say though, like, don't be fooled. I love me some DiGiorno's and Ben and Jerry's.
Too.
Like,
Me too.
It's all about balance.
It is.
Yes.
What's your
my go-to?
Yeah, like if you're like just F it.
What
if you're just like F it? I'm eating whatever I want.
Savory or sweet? Because
we'll go one of
specific.
Each. One of each.
So probably my go-to for savory, I'll go with pizza.
What on it?
good question. Depends where I am.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very picky.
Like you don't do pineapple, do you?
No, not like
Okay,
that.
that's
No,
good.
no. Nope.
What about sweet?
Sweet. I really love frozen yogurt.
Oh, that don't count.
I know.
Hello. What? Yes, it does. You didn't even give me a
Oh,
shot.
okay. Sorry. You put toppings.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
toppings, and I get larges, and they have a lot of chemicals usually.
Yeah,
and lots
good.
of sugar.
Yes.
Wits, come on, or a chocolate chip cookie.
One?
Nope,
Oh, okay.
never one of anything.
Good. There you go. What about you, T?
I love pizza too.
What do you get on it?
I like pineapple and ham.
Whoa.
Oh, that's because you're
We're
from
not
Hawaii.
sharing
I'm
Pizza
not
anytime
from
soon.
Hawaii.
But you spend a lot of time there.
Okay,
Wait, I
but
kind of thought you were from Hawaii.
not
Why does that
all
ring a
Hawaiian
bell?
people like Hawaiian pizza.
Wait, hang on. Before we even
Guys.
before we get away from that, is that
What?
is that a real thing in Hawaii, or is that made up like General Tso's chicken?
I
is?
think it's made up.
It is.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
like-
Hawaiian people
They don't eat that.
in no.
It's like when you ask Chinese people if they eat General Tso's, they
probably-
legit don't know what it is. There's a whole
It's
documentary.
made up.
Right.
Do you ever see the documentary? We're kind of rabbit trailing, but this is fun.
Yeah.
We
knew this was going to be fun. Here we go.
There's a documentary on Netflix called Finding General Tso, or
Oh no, I
So?
didn't watch.
yeah, and it's all about how like that's not even a real thing in China.
Oh.
Like they have people over there and they show them pictures of it, and like they're like, no, we don't know what that is.
No,
I believe it.
Yeah, no.
All right, so pineapple and ham.
Or pepperoni.
I can do some damage to a pepperoni pizza.
What about sweet?
I like ice cream.
What kind?
Ben and Jerry's. I do like Ben and Jerry's.
What kind?
Fish food.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
love fish food. Good choice.
Yes. Yeah, it's great.
I would have to go either pizza, and my pizza I like pepperoni, sausage, mushrooms, black olives, and banana peppers. Like a supreme.
That's good.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Get some
I'm
vegetables.
hungry now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then for sweets, I'm apple, like apple crisp, apple pie.
I don't like cooked
Nope.
fruit.
Me neither.
Oh, really?
I don't do it.
I can't
like,
do it.
Like the strawberry or blueberry in my. Nope.
No, thank you.
Oh,
Same.
yeah.
No thanks.
See,
Enjoy
I-
it. You could have all of it.
No, thank
but I'll
you.
take the chocolate.
Yes.
I mean, I like chocolate too, but if there's
No, but you can have your fruity stuff, and we'll have
eat
the
the-
chocolate.
yeah, apple crisp is really good. I got hooked on that in high school, and I would. Oh my god. Anyways, what else were we talking about?
Morgan, so now tell us, let's transition. Tell us what you do now. Update us on your life.
Yes. So for the past year, actually, like marking a year now, I have worked as a recovery mental health companion. I work with Silverbell Global, which was founded by Natasha Silverbell. And what we do is we're a concierge companioning company. We do everything from safe transport, 24/7 care, executive functioning, you name it. We pretty much cater toward the client and do it. But what I do specifically is I travel and I live with clients and I help them with whatever they're going through. So I have had a handful of clients with eating disorders. I've also worked with mental illness, substance abuse. So pretty much all of it.
So how long do you like live with them at a time? What's it?
So, I mean, it really depends on the case. Everything is different. But if it's a long-term case, and long-term, I just mean going back more than once, I'll stay with the client for 2 weeks, and then I'll swap out with someone else that comes in and relieves me. So the client is never alone. It's 24/7 care around the clock. And I'll have 2 weeks off after that.
So 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Wow.
Typically, we find that it's the best way that the client can't, you're able to create a relationship with the client, but the client also, you're living with them, so they can learn you just as well as you're learning them. So they can't really get one over on you either, because by the time you're switching, it's like a whole new person in there. helping them.
But it's the same, like 2 or 3 people that kind of rotate. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 people. It's typical.
What's the longest case you've been on?
Probably the one that I'm on now. It's been a couple months. And I'm back and forth to San Francisco.
Okay.
Wow. You're going from, what is that, 3,500 miles away?
Something like that. It's a lot. I think, wait, what?
The miles, I don't know.
Yeah, I could tell you like
You're just going
JetBlue
from one
mileage.
end I get a lot of points from one end of the United States to the other.
Yeah.
And do you find fulfillment in that? I mean, I'm sure you do. Obviously, you're doing it. Does it like, how's it make you feel, I suppose, and where you're at with your own recovery?
Yeah, it's a great question. I love it because, every time I enter someone's home, I really don't know what I'm getting myself into. Usually there's a meet and greet that happens before, but the real work starts when I walk in that door. And I won't lie, it's not always easy work. But what kind of lights my soul on fire is those little glimmers that you see in these patients. And typically it's a lot of steps back before you see that little glimmer of hope. And so it's taking their hand, creating a relationship, allowing them to, feel safe enough to trust you, or not. You know what I mean? Like working through whatever comes up and knowing that it's not always a linear journey. There are ups and downs, but like when you see that little like, oh, that was amazing. Like, yay, let's keep that up. But then like, or not, like whatever it is, just being there and being able to help someone on an intimate level like this, because it really is intimate. I'm living with them, we're with each other around the clock. And it's super special. It really is. And I love being able to give back, truthfully. Like it sounds so cliche, but like it really, nothing makes me happier, than being able to help someone through their journey, And what is really beautiful about Silver Bell is I'm never walking into someone's home that I haven't had any type of shared experience with. So like I've definitely been where this female has been before in her life. So I can like sit there with her and be like, if they allow me to, I could be like, I know what this feels like. I have been here, and to be able to help someone in that regard, it's like, it's super special.
Yeah.
So when you started, did you have to do any type of special training? Like, did they have you go through?
Tons of trainings and things like that. But, I've found that I've done a lot of trainings for this work, but nothing prepares me more than actually doing it,
Definitely.
And like, I've never been taught an experience in a training that I've actually experienced.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just always different.
Wait, what do you mean? What? Say that again?
So basically, like, you never know what you're going to get. Like, it's just always, like, they can predict, like, you'll have a client and he or she will be manic and it will look like this. And then, like, you walk into a home and a client is manic and, like, it looks nothing like what you were taught. Now
Right.
what?
It's like reading a book.
But the beautiful
and
thing is, with Silver Bell, at least, it's like I'm never alone in this. So we work with an entire team that is behind the scenes, and they're walking me through and supporting me in everything that I'm going through. So I'm never really the one to make the big call, I'm there to keep them safe.
Have you ever had a situation in any of the cases that you've had that are like, I don't know, like kind of like a bummer in a way?
Can you
elaborate?
use more words? Yeah, please.
Can you rephrase
Like, what do you mean a bummer?
Like, you know the expectation, or you know what you would want out of this client, and you just know it's not going to happen.
I mean, That's tricky. I don't. Yes and no. You know what I mean? Like going back to what we said in the beginning, like it's everyone's journey. So as much as I know and want something for them, like I can't be the one to be like, this is how you have to and should do it.
Right.
I can support you and suggest any way that like we think is best fit. But like, if it doesn't align with them, then like there's more learning that needs to happen, more experimenting, more research, whatever it is, you know?
Well, and I think that goes to show that like not anybody can do this line of work because you have to be you have to have your own shit together pretty well to be able to endure that type of work, I think, because if you aren't healthy yourself, like I could see that really kind of messing with somebody, you know, through maybe countertransference or whatever.
Totally.
And, you know, so I commend you on that. That's got to be tough because I know what we go through here just with our clients. And like you see the clients that you know are just going to do well. And we have a few of them here right now that I would bet money they're going to leave here and they're going to be good. And then you have the ones that are like, I don't think this is going to work out well. No matter what I want for you, no matter how bad, which is every single one of them, I want for them good, you know, good thing and good sobriety and stuff. But it's just, but then you have the ones that you don't think are going to do well and they surprise the hell out of you. And those I think are the coolest, you know, because it's like, wow, I wasn't seeing that coming. As a matter of fact, we have one of them coming to podcast tomorrow.
Oh, that's so cool.
He's flying down from Michigan, I believe. I'll tell you who it is after.
Okay.
I can't drop his name yet, but his podcast will go out in the next, I don't know when. Whenever Tambini tells me to put it out. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This individual, I'm like, there ain't a shot in hell. And as a matter of fact, I don't think he did stay sober after he left here. He went back to Michigan, bumped his head a few more times, and I think he's got over a year of sobriety now. So I think that is a good example of planting a seed. I know for certain we had some sort of impact on him. Not everybody's going to leave here and stay sober the rest of their lives, but we definitely had some sort of impact. And I think that's what you're doing even with those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, typically, every case that I've been on, I've created a good relationship with these clients. So whether they don't like that, what I have to offer them from, you know, what the clinical team is, you know, and I'm just the liaison. I'm the first to be like, so-and-so told me that I have to tell you that you have to make your bed today. You know what I mean? So I can maintain that kind of relationship with them where they feel like I can be a safe person. Usually these people remember me, you know, and I have one client that I didn't keep in touch with, or I haven't kept in touch with. And she's a mother, so she's busy, you know, but, everyone else I've maintained relationships with. So, you know, they'll at least remember someone cared along the way, whether, even if it's that, you know, or at least I hope that's what they remember, you know. I can't tell them how they should feel.
So the lady that started it, her name is what? Natasha Silverbell?
Silverbell, yeah.
So we should try and get her on the podcast too. That'd be cool. If she ever would. Yeah, if you can ever make that happen. Good.
Tell us, what do you, aside from that, like, how do you stay active in your recovery, and what are things that are important to you? And
oh my God. So, you know, it's super interesting. I'm a really structured, routine oriented person. And it was really easy when I had a job that was in one place.
Right.
You know, but for the past year, I've had to learn how to make it work as I go, you know? So one thing that's super important to me, obviously, is my fitness, right? And my program. And the cool thing is you can take both of those everywhere. It's just going to take a little bit more effort to do it. So, you know, those are two things that are huge to me. And it's kind of been this cool little new experiment, if you will. Like, okay, I'm going to be in this area. What gyms do they have here? What am I going to, and make it work. And I get to try all these cool new fitness places. And I have this huge AA network in San Francisco, Palo Alto. It's been really cool, and it's just so weird how it all works, it's wild, but people in California hold me accountable today, so it's cool.
Yeah.
San Francisco.
What?
I could tell you my stories about that place after. I like Fisherman's Wharf, or where all the seals are.
When was the last time
That
you were
is
there?
in San Fran.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I said that is.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Oh, and you said, I thought you said that isn't in San Fran.
No, it is.
No, it is. When
Yeah.
was the last time you were there?
It was pretty crappy when I was there, but it was the only time I've ever been there.
Yeah.
So it was nice seeing the seal, but
Yeah.
it was 2018 and it was a disaster area. I mean, I remember walking, my son was, 2018. What was that? 6 years ago?
Yes.
My son was 2 and my daughter was just born. And me, my wife, and the two of us, we were in San Fran and we took one of those trolley
yeah.
things to one of the shopping streets or whatever. And we're walking and I had the stroller and I remember there was an empty lot that all that was in it were needles. You saw the orange needle caps and stuff and my son literally could have just ran right into this thing and fallen in a pile of needles.
It's really super sad there.
Yeah. I mean,
it has some, sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
I mean, it has some beautiful parts, don't get me wrong. And there's something special about it. But this past summer, I went to the AA convention and it was in downtown San Francisco. And then, it was this amazing thing happening inside. And then you walked out the door and it was awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible
Awful
in the
is
streets.
an understatement.
Yeah.
The homeless.
It's bad.
I mean, it was unbelievable walking my 2-year-old son and there was a homeless man wearing a dress that he obviously got from some sort of donation center and was exposing himself. I couldn't even believe it. And you know how many police officers I saw the whole time I was there? I was there 3 days. Not a one.
Yeah.
I didn't see one cop. We did go to Alcatraz. That was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Alcatraz was cool. The history with that. So, yeah. I'll never go back, though. It was a once-in-a-lifetime thing. I actually flew out there to Sacramento to do a podcast with Mark Bell.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah. And then went to L.A. That was cool, but you ate breakfast and then you had to figure out where you were going to go to lunch because it was going to take you that long to get there.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, that's my California stories. I was there for a whole month.
Wow.
California. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you live
on
there.
Thursday.
I grew up there in San Jose.
Did you really?
Yep.
So
Grew
I
up
know
in
San Jose well now because I've been in the Palo Alto area, Mountain View, all of it.
You know, Tambini jumps out of helicopters and goes snowboarding.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, I grew up in NorCal in San Jose, so you're 4 hours from Lake Tahoe.
Yeah.
I'm 45 minutes from Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
So my cousins lived in Santa Cruz, and they all snowboarded. So we would go to Santa Cruz, even in the winter, but summers, surf, beach, and then in the winter it was awesome because we would drive up to Tahoe,
and
Bear
all
Valley, and just snowboard.
yeah.
It was a good place to grow up,
Yeah.
but it changed a lot. After when the Google and Apple boom hit, early 2000s, a lot of people came in and it displaced a lot of the local people out of their homes and they started building on it. The infrastructure is just not there anymore. And there's so much more homeless now than there was when I grew up. There wasn't an issue. Obviously it's always an issue, but Now there's tent cities. Like I exit to go to my parents' house and there's tents.
Oh, they're still there?
All along. Well, they just moved here. That was one of the reasons they moved. But there's tents all along the exit off the highway. And I never experienced that as growing up. You know, I left when I was 18. But now it's so prevalent. It's just a different place now.
Your parents moved to Florida?
They did about a year and a half ago now.
Just because, I mean, for I'm sure multiple reasons, but the homeless was one of them. That sucks, man.
I was looking into it at one point. It's not cheap there. Like a lot of people from there are heading this way.
Yeah.
I looked at apartments and it took my apartment here and it doubled it in the cost of rent for something smaller. Doubled.
I read something, I don't know how true it is, but more people left California than moved there in 2023.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But at the same time, I love it so much.
It's a beautiful
I love
place.
it there.
I'm glad I grew up there and I'm glad I had the experience that I did there. It's something I'll never forget. But I don't think I could live there now.
Right.
It's different.
Isn't the taxes there crazy?
Yes.
Taxes, the cost of living, you know, like I was lucky. My parents were lucky. They've been there. My grandparents, you know, established there. So they all bought their homes real cheap. Like my parents bought their, or grandparents bought their home for, I think my mom told me it was like $60,000 for a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house in like 1960.
Yeah.
And my mom just sold my grandma's house 2 years ago now for like $1.7 million.
Yeah.
And it's not worth that.
Yeah. How much do you think that house would be worth here?
Maybe $400,000, $500,000.
Dang. Holy cow.
So it's good for the people who were rooted in a sense, but in another sense, it displaced a lot of people who lived there who eventually became homeless or had to move 1 hour, 2 hours away to commute in.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that, and we're going to wrap this up, but I wonder how much of that homelessness is like generational. You know, a lot of the people just, I mean, I don't know. Anyways, well, I'm super glad you came on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was
Me
so much
too.
fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun. Did you?
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah.
That's how we went into it. Like, this is going to be fun.
Tambini, any final thoughts?
No, I'm just so happy to see you.
I know. It's
and
so
have
great.
you.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know that I really admire you. I think
oh my God, thank
that addiction is probably the hardest thing to go through and overcome. And I know everyone that's in it struggles with it. And it's a daily fight, right? It's not something that ever goes away. But I think how you're giving back and I admire you.
Thank you.
I admire.
That means so much.
Yeah. We're very similar with our structure, our routine, our exercise, but the drive and the need or the want to give back and change other people's lives because it does help you in some way.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well, I admire you too. And
Wow,
we just
thanks.
met today.
Wow.
Yep.
Thank
I think you're
you.
crushing it.
Thanks.
All right. That is it for this episode of Real Recovery Talk. Thank you for tuning in. In the end, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you could always reach us, info@realrecoverytalk.com. Again, that's info@realrecoverytalk.com. And ultimately, we want to help you turn your mess into your message. That is it. We will see y'all later.